What's up, everybody, and thank you for listening to Mastering the Mindset. My name is Dariusdotch, and I'm an actor, hip-hop artist, and fitness and life coach. And I'm here to personally help you train and improve your mindset so that you can, 1, become the best version of yourself mentally, and 2, gain focus and motivation to be able to take action and achieve the success in life that you want and deserve. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to my channel, and at the end of this episode, if you liked it, please share it with a friend or a loved one or someone who will benefit from hearing this message. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm ready to go on this journey with you, and that journey begins now. All right, and welcome back. So today we are going to talk about another important topic. We are going to talk about how to set boundaries. Now, it's very important for everybody, me, you, all of us. Let's talk about setting boundaries with your relationships, with everybody around you. And this is important because a lot of people struggle with this. They give so much of themselves, and then they barely have anything left over for themselves because they let people step all over their boundaries. Or they just don't even know what their boundaries are. And if you don't know what your boundaries are, then people will overstep them because you don't have them in place. And those other people won't know that they overstepped your boundaries either. And it's important for all of your relationships, every single one of them, for your romantic relationships, relationships with your parents, if they're still alive, your siblings, your friends, your family, your children, hell, with yourself, and especially for work, whether you're at the office or at your job, or if you work from home, or if you're focused on creating your own source of income. It's important to know where you stand and then clearly communicate this to everybody around you. And I'm going to give you a process, a step-by-step process to adapt. So let's get it. So the thing about boundaries is most people don't have them. They don't talk about them and therefore don't know how to set them or work through them if they do have them. And this can cause a lot of friction and stress and frustration with people in your life when they continue to overstep. And the thing is, when they do, you can feel it. You know it don't feel right. You recognize that it's something that you're not really comfortable with, but you haven't set them yet. You haven't set those boundaries. And this can cause resistance towards somebody in your life. And do you have that person in your life? A lot of us do. Most of us do. The person that we feel this friction towards, that person who oversteps. But the thing that we first have to understand and work on is the relationship with ourselves. That's the most important relationship. We need to start there because too often people give themselves up for the relationship. And you should never give yourself up for a relationship of any kind. If you feel like you're giving yourself up for a relationship, then you aren't showing up for it the way you're supposed to. And that's not serving you and not serving the people in that relationship because you'll start to have resentment towards them. So many people have resentment towards their siblings, especially towards their parents. And this resentment is formed because boundaries are being overstepped for years and years. And now that relationship is tainted. So don't ever put anybody else above you, because if you work on becoming better, the better you'll be able to show up in those relationships. And the better you show up in those relationships, the better they become. If you think and feel that you have to give and give and give and give and give in a relationship to make it better, and then you have nothing left for yourself, and you don't have the energy and time to work on yourself, then you are actually losing some of the good that could potentially come in that relationship because you're losing some of yourself. People lose themselves in so many of their relationships. And that's the last thing I want for you. And some of you may have lost yourself in a relationship, and that's okay. Sometimes we have to lose ourselves to be able to find ourselves. And that sounds cliche, but it's true. Sometimes we find out who we are and who we want to become when we completely lose ourselves. Sometimes it's necessary and a good thing. So if you have lost yourself in a relationship, it's good to get out a pen and pad and work on those things to figure out what your boundaries are, what you want to reclaim, how you want to work on yourself, how you want to make yourself better. So here's what I'm going to say about this. You have to be full of yourself. And some folks might not say this to you, but I will. You have to be full of yourself. I'm not saying be narcissistic, but you have to be full of yourself. The more full of yourself you are means the more confidence you'll have in yourself, and the more you'll be able to impact others around you and be able to give to the world. And honestly, who the hell should you be full of? Too many people are taught that you're supposed to give and give and give and give, but it's more important to pour from a cup that's full than a cup that's half full, or worse, an empty cup. Canceling your plans with your friends to stay home and do what you need to do for your own mental well-being is okay. Staying home to cook instead of going out to drink with your friends is okay. Turning down job opportunities, even though it'll be more money for you, but it'll be more important to have time with yourself and your kids, is okay. And y'all gonna be shocked by this one, but skipping the gym is okay. It's okay to skip the gym if you're in a place where you absolutely need a break in your life. These things are okay. Now, I'm not saying to be that friend who always counsels on people or that you should get used to skipping the gym all the time. But if you feel like you absolutely need to skip things or cancel things or turn things down, it's okay. Sometimes you just need to do that. What's up, what's up, what's up? I want to take a quick moment to say thank you so much for listening to this episode, and to also let you know that this podcast is 100% donation driven, which means it's completely funded by you, the listener. So if you like the content I have to offer, I would love it if you can make a donation and you get to pick the amount. I left links in the description of the video as well as my homepage. You can choose which way benefits you the best to donate. And if you need more options, please feel free to email me at dariusdotch@gmail.com. That's dariusdotch@gmail.com. Again, thank you so much for being here, and let's get back to it. And I've really been focusing on this, been working on this, because one of my biggest weaknesses is because I'm an actor, we don't have regular 9-to-5 jobs. And so most of my work is all project based, and projects end, right? So being a freelance artist, you don't always know what your next gig is going to be. And sometimes, hell, a lot of times, because we don't always know what's next, we say yes to way too much. So what happens is my schedule gets hectic and I'm stretched really thin and I'm stressed and I'm going from one gig to the next in the same day. And in the same time, I'm trying to grow my workout business. I'm trying to grow my podcast, trying to increase my social media presence, which takes a lot of damn work. Plus I edit all of my own videos and content, not just for social media, but for my workout clients, and trying to stay evolving with that. And the accumulation of all that burns me the hell out, and I get drained. And I'm learning to set those boundaries for myself and learning to say no. And a friend of mine actually just asked me to be a part of a project, and technically I am available. But I looked at my calendar, and that week is already going to be a long week for me. And even though I would love to be a part of that project and to help them out, I had to say I'm sorry, but for my mental well-being, I have to decline. And if you're listening, what's up? And I had to use this example because, one, it shows that boundaries are important. And two, like I always say, I'm on this journey with you. I'm not just telling you what to do, but I'm doing the same things as well. And so you have to find those boundaries when it comes to how much you put on your plate. I'm not saying that you should run from hard work and things that you're supposed to do, but you should find that balance and not run yourself into the ground. And that's really, really important. So let's talk about this process. 3 steps to setting boundaries. Number 1, you have to decide what you want. And a lot of us haven't thought about this, but if you were to build the perfect relationship with that person, whoever it may be, what would it look like? How do you want to feel in that relationship? How do you want them to feel with you? How do you want to show up? How do you want them to show up? How do you want to communicate? So get very clear on what it is you want. Otherwise, how will you get it? What would that perfect relationship look like? So get a pen and paper and write it out. Get clear on it, because that's going to help you when you get to step number 2. And step number 2 is you have to communicate with them. You have to talk with them. They will not know your boundaries unless you communicated with them. Because here's the thing. You have to teach people how to treat you. Some people have been treating you a certain way because you haven't taught them how to. You have to communicate it to them. And it might be hard, but it's necessary. You have to do it. Even if you take all the blame for it and you say, you know what? This is my fault. Whatever you need to do, you have to figure it out. If you got to say, Mama, I'm sorry, but I'm working from 8 to 5 today and I'm exhausted at the end of the day. I just cannot pick up your laundry today. Or, hey, I've been trying to work on my mental well-being and not having negativity in my life. So I'm sorry, but can we change the subject to something positive? Clearly communicate to them what it is you want and why you want it. And having these conversations can be hard or uncomfortable. So here's a strategy you can use. So the first thing you have to do is you have to disarm them. So instead of going in and saying, hey, we need to talk. I don't like you because of X, Y, Z. That's going to make them get defensive or make them push back at what you're saying. So instead, just say, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Or do you have a second to talk? And be upfront. Tell that person that you have something to say and that you want to be honest without them judging or getting upset. And that alone will disarm them. And now they've agreed to let you say what's on your mind. And since they've given you permission and you've told them that you're going to be honest in hopes that it's not going to upset them, you've already set the ground rules. And now the conversation is ready to be had. So that's number 2. Number 3, make sure you stay firm. When you communicate with them, they're probably going to overstep again. Hell, probably as you're telling them about your boundaries, but you have to stay firm. Like, hey, remember the conversation we had about me working on negativity in my life? Or remember when I said that my days are long and I need time after I get off work for myself to be mentally healthy? Or, hey, remember when I talked to you about how you say things to me that are condescending? Or, hey, remember when I told you that because I work from home, it doesn't mean that I'm just hanging out from home and I can't answer your calls all day? You have to stay firm. Otherwise, they'll take advantage of it, whether it's on purpose or not. Because at the end of the day, it takes awareness. They more than likely aren't even aware of how they've been overstepping your boundaries. So the more you make them aware of it, when they do it, the sooner they'll start to realize that, oh, yeah, this is what they were talking about. Let me call them later. Or, oh, yeah, he did say he needs a break after work. Let me ask if he can do it on the weekend. It's tough love, but you can't be soft with your boundaries. You have to be firm. So those are the 3 steps. 1, you have to be really clear on exactly what it is you want out of that relationship. 2, you have to communicate that. And 3, you have to be firm on it. And it's really important because you have to be the person who steps up, because I guarantee the person overstepping your boundaries is not going to come up to you and say, hey, I'm overstepping. How can I not do that? That ain't going to happen. So let's make sure that we step up, that we're doing the things we want to do, experiencing our relationships in a healthy way and showing up for ourselves in the best way we need to so we can show up for others in our lives. So that's what I got for you today. If you like this episode, please share it with somebody that can benefit from this, somebody who is a friend or a family member, somebody who has goals and is trying to improve their lives. So thank you again, and let's get it in.